Hello and welcome to the Topic Master Series presented by Edu-Kingdom College. In this video, we're looking at long multiplication. You guys would have probably seen this, the times tables, and you guys should probably remember up to at least 10, best if you remember until 12 times tables. But just using the 12 times tables, you can't times all the numbers in this world, because there's obviously numbers bigger than 12. What happens when we need to solve a number like this? 789,012 times 3,456. How can we solve this? We can use something called long multiplication. How does long multiplication actually work? It's very similar to column addition and column subtraction, where you just put the numbers in a column. Instead of an addition sign or a subtraction sign that we get used to, we're going to use a multiplication sign. We're going to work from the right to left, like usual, and we're going to look at each individual digits. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the digit all the way from the right, in this case, which is 6, and we're going to times it by the 6. 6 times 6, you should know from the times table, gives you 36. But like column addition and column subtraction, I can't put two numbers in the same column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrap that and put only the 6 there. Whereas the 3, we're going to take it as a carryover. What we're going to do next is we're going to times the second place with the 6 again. I have 5 times 6 now. 5 times 6 should give us 30, and 30 we're going to add to 3 of the carryover, which gives us 33. Carry overing another 3 to the hundredths place. I'm going to repeat this process for the last digit, which is the hundredths digit 1. 1 times 6 we know is going to give us 6, plus the 3 going to give us a 9. So now we get 936, so the answer to 156 times 6 is 936. Now that we looked at the examples, let's go through the steps on how it works. Once we put everything into the column it should look like, we have to work from the right to left. We times each digit of the first number by the second number. We regroup if it's needed, and put the answer below the line. Now, we just looked at 3 digits times by 1 digit. What happens if we have 3 digits times by 2 digits? We have 485 times by 23, put it all into a column like we usually do. What we're going to do first is we're going to look from the right to left for both of the numbers. In other words, we're going to look at 3 and 485 first. We're going to do 485 times 3 using the method we learned earlier. We have 5 times 3, which gives us 15. Put the 5 at the bottom, carry over the 1. Now we move on to the 8. 8 times 3 gives me 24. 24 plus the 1 gives me 25. So put the 5 at the bottom, carry over the 2. Now 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is going to give us 12. 12 plus 2 gives us 14. And now we just get 14 since there's no more other digits on the left. Now that I have worked out the 485 times by 3, let's have a look at the 2. Now, I'm going to have to times 485 by 20, since 23 is 20 plus 3. And I know that 2 times 10 is going to give me 20. So every single time when there's another digit, we can add a magic 0. After we have worked out the magic 0, we can just times this number, 485, by the 2 individually like we'd learned earlier. I have 2 times 5, which gives me 10. Carry over the 1. 8 times 2 gives me 16. 16 plus the 1 gives me 17. Put the 7 down, carry over the 1 again. And then I have lastly 4 times 2 gives me 8. 8 plus the 1 gives me 9. And then I have 9 at the bottom. Now I have 2 numbers at the bottom here. I have the 485 times by 3 and 485 times by 20. What I'm going to do is I'm just simply going to add them together. Once we have added them together, it will give us 5, 5, 7 plus 4 is just going to give me 11. So 11 with 1 at the bottom, carry over 1. And then I have 9 plus 1 gives me 11. So the answer for 485 times by 23 is going to give me 11,155. This method works for adding more and more digits. So if you're timesing by 3 digits by 3 digits, 4 digits by 3 digits, and so on, you just keep timesing them individually and adding the zeros to the second, third, and fourth number. Using that idea, let's have a look at this mathematical question that I have put at the start of the video. 789,012 times by 3,456. It's going to be quite a few steps, so let's work along together. First, we put it into the column with the line over there. If you want, you can have a go at this question by yourself right now, because I'm going to go through quite fast, because we should be able to do it by now. So pause the video if you want to have a go at it. So I'm going to work from the right to the left and work with the 6 first. I have 6 times 2 gives me 12, carry over the 1. 6 times 1 plus 1 gives me 7, nothing to carry over. 0 times 6 gives me 0. 9 times 6 gives me 54, carry over the 5. 8 times 6 gives me 48, plus the 5 gives me 53, carry over the 5. 7 times 6 gives me 42, plus the 5 gives me 47. Moving on to the 5, I have to add my magic 0. I have 5 times 2 gives me 10, carry over the 1. And then 5 times 1 plus 1 gives me 6, nothing to carry over. 0 times 5 gives me 0, so nothing to carry over as well. 9 times 5 gives me 45, carry over the 4. 8 times 5 gives me 40, plus the 4 gives me 44, carry over the 4. 35 times 7 times 5 gives me 35, plus the 4 gives me 39. Moving on to the 4. Since 4 is represented as 400, I need to add 2 zeros instead of 1. And then I have 4 times 2 gives me 8. 4 times 1 gives me 4. 0 times 4 gives me 0. 9 times 4 gives me 36, carry over the 3. 8 times 4 gives me 32, plus the 3 gives me 35. Carry over the 3. 7 times 4 gives me 28, plus the 3 gives me 31. Lastly, we move on to the 3. Since 3 is represented as 3,000, I need to add 3 zeros. And then 3 times 2 gives me 6. 3 times 1 gives me 3. 3 times 0 gives me 0. 9 times 3 gives me 27. 27 carry over the 2. 8 times 3 gives me 24, plus the 2 gives me 26, carry over the 2. 7 times 3 gives me 21, plus 2 gives me 23. All I have to do, now that I have these 4 large numbers, all I have to do is add them all together. You guys can try at least adding them together if you didn't try timesing it. And the answer will give you 2,726,825,472. And this is it for this video. Check out more English and Maths content by exploring our channel.